Peace be with you. My name is Hezekiah, and today I am in Greece. Behind me is the Parthenon. Today I want to share with you the Parthenon and what its purpose was and why it was built, when it was constructed and how long it took to construct. I'm going to share with you some of its history and why I believe it and the Greek Empire were ultimately destroyed. Then I'm going to share something you may find interesting as to the building of the Parthenon regarding its columns. Then I want to share with you certain passages from the scriptures that show we're only to worship God, our Creator. So the Parthenon was a former temple that was dedicated to a pagan god in the 5th century BC. It was built in thanksgiving for the Greek victory over the Persian Empire invaders. It was constructed beginning in 447 BC to 438 BC, and it took approximately 10 years to build. In the final decade of the 6th century, it was converted into a church dedicated to the Virgin Mary. After this, there was an Ottoman conquest in the mid-15th century where it became a mosque. Later, there was a siege in 1687 known as the 1687 Siege of the Acropolis, where a Venetian bomb landed on the Parthenon, likely because the Ottomans were using it to store gunpowder and ammunition. And so, first of all, I want to share with you why I believe it, along with the Greek Empire, were ultimately destroyed. Now, what we know of the Greek Empire is that they had a practice of worshiping many pagan gods, pagan idols, and they offered many animal sacrifices to these pagan gods. And what we have seen through history is that along with the Babylonian empires, the Medo-Persian empires, the Greek empires, the Roman empires, is that whenever an empire took to the worshiping of idols rather than the acknowledgement of their creator, that empire ultimately came to its end. Because whatever is not pleasing to God the Creator ultimately comes to its end. And so ultimately we should worship and honor only God, our Creator. And so that's one reason why I believe the Greek Empire came to its end. Now, while that ended and it became a church, the church was used to honor the Virgin Mary, and so there were likely statues or graven images of Mary, which also is not pleasing to God, because even if it's to worship an image of Jesus or of Mary, this is still a form of idolatry because it takes the honor that is due to the Creator and gives it to an image. And so that's why I believe that the Parthenon ultimately came to its end in the context of it even being a church, because that was not right either. Next, we see the Ottomans taking over the Parthenon, and this is where it was destroyed. Now, the reason I believe that happened, notice as I shared with you, they were using it as a place to store their ammunition, their gunpowder, right? And so this happens because certain people in Islam take to violence, not recognizing certain passages in the Quran that teach not to do that. For example, in the Quran, chapter 42, verse 43, it says, "And whoever endures patiently and forgives, Surely this is a resolve to aspire to. And then you have in the Quran, chapter 5, verse 28, if you raise your hand to kill me, I will not raise my hand to kill you, because I fear God, the Lord of the worlds. So because certain people in Islam don't recognize these parts of the Quran, and because they are maybe offended um, or wronged in certain situations, they want to take violence upon themselves. And that is why Jesus says, um, don't kill with the sword. Because if you kill with the sword, you will be killed by the sword. And that's Matthew 26:52. So we can see an example of that right here at the Parthenon, where the Ottomans were controlling this, right? They were using it for their weapons, for their their ammunition, their gunpowder, right? And what they were intending to do to others ultimately fell upon themselves. And so we could see right in history, this is what Jesus says. If you kill with the sword, you're going to ultimately die by the sword. So I would hope that you would use this example of what happened in history at the Parthenon to heed that warning for yourself. Also, we can see a passage from the Torah, Deuteronomy 32:35. Vengeance is mine, saith the He is, I will repay. So let God be your vengeance. Let God sees, God knows. He knows when you've been wronged, when you've been mistreated. And if you rely on Him, then and don't take to violence when you've been hurt or wronged, then He, God, will ultimately step in at some point in time and will deliver and will avenge you. Another thing on the Parthenon that I discovered that I thought you guys may find interesting, and I'll tell you why they did this. The pillars of the Parthenon are actually not straight. They're built with a slight tilt inward. Yet when you look at them, they look straight. Now, why does this phenomenon exist? Well, if you think about it, the Earth is a sphere, right? So it's round. So if you make two straight lines coming off of a sphere, because you're not working with a flat platform, those straight lines are going to move outward, right? Because if I have a big sphere and these straight lines, they're gonna come outward. So they built the columns. They're actually tilted inward a little bit so that they give the appearance of them being straight. Just a little bit of a tidbit of information there that I found to be interesting. And so now I would like to share with you some passages from the Bible that show we are only to worship God, our Creator. Deuteronomy 6:4, Hear, O Israel, the He is our God, the He is one. Psalms 86:8, Among the gods there is none like thee, O God, neither are there any works like unto thy works. Psalms 18:31, For who is God save the Creator, the He is, or who is a rock save our God? Exodus 23:13, In all things that I have said unto thee, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. So we're not even to let the names of idols be found on our lips. Deuteronomy 32:39, See now that I, even I, am He. There is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of thy hand. Deuteronomy 6:13a, For fear the Creator your God, serve Him only. Deuteronomy 10:20, fear the Creator your God and serve him. Deuteronomy 6:4, hear, O Israel, that he is our God, the Creator, that he is one. And the saints being filled with the Spirit of God. Psalms 86:8, among the gods there is none like you, O God. No deeds can compare with yours. So I hope that you observe here, like as we notice from the Roman empires, the Greek empires, the Persian empires, and even, for example, Israel in the Bible, you see them coming in and out of the land, that as soon as they took to animal sacrificing and mistreating others, and they were uprooted out of the land by their enemies. But as soon as they took to mercy and obedience and not sacrificing and eating animals, they were restored back to their land. So I hope that you could learn that lesson today in observing these things. Number one, we're only to worship God, our Creator, and let's rely on our Creator, rely on God to be our vengeance for when we've been mistreated, and ultimately, He will be our defense.